Hello everyone and welcome to another part of the Galaga SDL tutorial videos. And last video we stopped at the player lives. So this is what we have so far. If we go to the play screen, you have the high score, the one player, and the ship lives. And this can all be set using the play screen. So now in this video we will be doing the ship flags. And for the ship flags down here we will have first a variable, just like for the ships, to hold all the flags to be apparent for all the flag objects that we're going to be creating. So we will make a game entity pointer and we'll call this one mFlags. Now mFlags, let's create it down here. So in our play sidebar.cpp, mFlags equals to a new game entity. mFlags is going to be a child to our sidebar. So mFlags parent is going to be equal to this, and mFlags, and the flag's x position is going to be somewhere where the ships are on the x, so -40, but it's going to be further down. So instead of 450, let's make it something like 650. So position vector 2, and this will be -40.0f and 650.0f. Now that we created it, let's delete it. So we'll go down here and say that delete mFlags, and mFlags equals null. We don't need to render this because it's just an empty game object or empty game entity. So now we will start creating the actual flags. So I have here pictures or textures of all the flags that we need. This is the 1 level, 5 levels, 10, 20, 30, and 50. So what we will need is the width of each flag, and we will need to set it so that, let's say we have a level like 50, for example, we would just use the 50 level flag. If it's 52, we would use 50 and 2 1 flags and so on. So we will have an std vector, and this will take a texture pointer, and this will be called mFlag textures. Now we will also need an int remaining levels and int mFlag x offset, and these will come into effect a little bit later on. We will also need a float mFlag timer and a float mFlag interval. And these two are so that we don't put in the flags all at once. We need to give it a delay so that each flag is set at a time, 1 flag at a time. Now, we will need a few private functions. So private in here, we will have void clear flags. And this will be the first one we do. So let's implement the clear flags first. So let's go down to right underneath the constructor here, the destructor here, and do void play sidebar clear flags. And in clear flags, we will just loop through the vector and delete all the flags and set them to null. So for int I equals 0, I is less than mFlag textures dot size I++, delete mFlags flag textures at I, mFlag textures at I is equal to null, and then after the loop we will just clear the vector. So mFlag textures dot clear, and this should be it for the clear flags. So now that we can actually delete all of them and clear the vector, we can just use that in our destructor. So right underneath delete flags, we can do clear flags as well. So that should be it for this function. Now we need to actually create these flags. And to create the flags, we will have a few more private functions. So the first one will be void, or let's put it right underneath this one, void add next flag. And this one will figure out what kind of flag we need to add next. And then void add flag. And this one will take in an std string file name, a float width, as well as an int value of the flag that we're trying to set. So these two functions will handle taking care of adding the flags. Now, if we go down right underneath clear flags, we will have, let's start by implementing the add next flag function. So void play sidebar add next flag. And for this one, it will just be a simple if-else statement. So if-else-if statements. So if the remaining levels are more than or equal to 50, so if the remaining levels are more than or equal to 50, what we want to do is add the next add flag, and this flag would be our so what we have here is the 50 flag, 50 level flag.png. So 50 level flag.png. The size of this, if I go to edit and resize, so the size in pixels is 60, but we need to add a 2 pixel buffer so that they're not all stuck together. So let's say 62. So 62.0f, and then its value is our 50. So that's fine. Next up is the 30. So else if m remaining levels are more than or equal to 30, add flag. This one will be the 30 level flag.png. The size of this was 60 pixels as well, so it will be 62.0f because of the buffer, and then the value would be 30. Else if m remaining levels are more than or equal to 20, add flag 20 level flag.png. The size is 62 as well for the 20, so 62.0f, or 60, so 62.0f, and the value is 20. Else if, let's do the 10, same idea, add flag, ten level flag.png. Now the size for my 10 level flag was so resize, the size was 52, so we'll add 2 to that, so 54. So 54.0f. And finally, the value will be 10. Next up is the 5 level flag, so else if m remaining flags are more than or equal to 5, add flag of 5 level flag.png. The size for the 5 level flag was 28, so 30.0f, and the value is 5. Else, so if it's none of these, then all that's left is the 1 level flag. So add flag 1 level flag.png. The size of the 1 level was 28 as well, so 30 for the width, and the value is 1. And this will be it for our add next flag function. Now the function that we need to implement is the one that we've been calling this whole time, which is just add flag. So void player sidebar, or play sidebar, add flag, std string file name, and finally float width, and int value. So what we will do here is take the value and subtract it from the remaining levels. So m remaining levels minus equals our value. And now that we subtracted the value, we need to add the flag that we passed a file name for. So we will say that our m flag textures dot pushback, and what pushback will do is to add a new texture, and this texture will be just a file name. There we go. Now we need to know which index we're working on, and the index we're working on is always the one that we pushed in last, so it would be the flag textures dot size minus 1. But there is an easier way to do this. It is to, up here we can say int index is going to be equal to m flag textures dot size before we do the pushback. And since we did this before the pushback, our index would always be the last index in our flag textures vector. Because if it's completely empty, the size would be 0, so our index would be 0. And then once we push back, the size minus 1, which is the size now is 1, so the index would be 0. So m flag textures at the index parent is going to be equal to m flags. M flag textures at the index position. So the position for that will be a vector2 or vec2 underscore right, because we're always going from where we are and moving to the right, adding more and more flags to the right, multiplied by m flag offset x offset, and then we need to add to the x offset the size of our flag. But it might seem like it's pretty straightforward that we can just add the flag size as the offset for the next flag, but it's not that simple, because the actual offset is this flag's half width and then the next flag's half width, or the one before it, half width of the one before it, and then the half width of the one that we're on right now. So what we need to do actually is right here, we can say that our m flag offset, x offset, is going to plus equals the width multiplied by 0.5f. So this is our current width. And then, but we don't want to do this if our position or if our index is the first index, because there is nothing to offset from before it. So we can say that if index is more than 0, then do this offset. And then once we place it, we can change the offset back to another plus half to get it ready for the next flag that's going to be set. So m flag x offset plus equals the width multiplied by 0.5f. And this should be it for this part. Now we just need to set that up in our update so that it keeps adding flags until the remaining levels are 0. So if we go down to update, we can go here and say that if m remaining flags are more than 0, the flag timer plus equals m time delta time, and then if the flag timer is more than or equal to the flag interval, we just want to add the next flag. So add the next flag, and then reset the flag timer back to 0. So m flag timer equals 0.0f. And that should be it for setting the flags in place. So the only thing left now is for a way for our play screen to set the level for our sidebar. For that, we will create another public function to set it, just like we did for the rest of the ships and the score. So over here, we will do void set level, and this will take in an int level. And then over here, we will go underneath set ships and say void play sidebar set level int level. Okay, so the level that we want to set, so we are going to set our remaining levels to that level. So our m remaining levels are going to be equal to level. Now we will also need to, since we're setting a brand new level, we need to clear the old flags, and for that we will do a clear flags at the beginning to get rid of all the old flags, set our remaining levels to that, and then set our x offset, so m flag x offset to 0.0f. Now let's see if we set our intervals. So we haven't set our intervals yet, so we can say that our m flag timer is going to start off being 0.0f, and m flag interval, let's say it's something like 0.5f. So that's in our constructor. So down here we have the flag timer to 0 and the flag interval to 0.5f. What's left is to just try it out. So we can go to the play screen and say m sidebar set level to, let's say, 3. And let's see how that goes. Let's double check to make sure that we are deleting everything. We are not rendering the flags, so we need to fix that. But for now, let's see, we have the flags, we are clearing the flags, and that's all we have. These are all the pointers we're assigning. So we're fine on the destructor. We just need to render all the flags. So for this, we'll just loop through the vector and render it. So for int I equals 0, I is less than flag textures dot size I plus plus, and then m flag textures at I render. And that will be it for that. Let's try it and try and run it. There we go. It seems a bit too slow, so we need to speed up the way how fast they are being added in. But it looks like it's in the right place. It might actually need to be a little bit to the left. So if we go back to our m flags, so our m flags, it's at -40, let's say -50 instead. Okay, that looks fine. Okay, so now that we have this set, the final thing that we need to do is to add the audio for setting the flag. So every time a flag is added, we need to make a sound. And I have a sound here for that called flagsound.wave. And that's what it sounds like. It's just the flag sound from the original Galaga. And for that, we can just play it. So it's in our assets folder and it's called flagsound.wave. So we can just go to the add flag function every time a flag is added and say m-audio play sfx, and the file name would be flagsound.wav. And let's try to run this. There we go. That seems to be working pretty well. Right, we needed to lower the interval. So let's set the interval to 0.2 instead. Okay, that seems to be working pretty well. And let's go back to the play screen now and try something much higher. So let's say 87. Okay, so that's 50, and 30, that's 85, so 85, 86, 87. Yeah, so that seems to be working pretty well. And yeah, that will probably be it for this video. Let's try something a bit higher, so 107, let's say. So that should be 250s, F5 and 2. Okay, so that seems to be working pretty well. This is actually a bit too close, so I might actually raise the ship lives a little bit higher. Let's see here. Ship lives. So in ship's position, I'll raise it to, let's say, 420. There we go. And this is gonna pretty much be it for the sidebar. In the next video, we're going to start on the player movement. But for now, I really hope that this video helped. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.